Not everyone can be the best. You can't have a film full of leading men. Sometimes you need an odd-faced supporting character just to fill things out, give things a bit of variety. See also Tempest. There have been a lot of WWE World Champions over the years, and each of them adds something to the pantheon, even gender, because hey, every group needs a worse member. See also Tempest. But despite the dozens and dozens of world champs that WWE have crowned over the years, there were some shining stars that never got their moment in the spotlight, to horribly mix my metaphors. The history books are full of loyal and talented workhorses whose contributions to wrestling were invaluable, but owing to time, circumstance, and blonde assholes soaking up all the spotlight, never made it to the top. See also Tempest. I'm Adam hailing from partsFUNknown. Here are 10 greatest WWE stars to never be world champion. And while you're here, make sure you're subscribed to partsFUNknown for more silly wrestling content. It's so silly. Gosh, it's silly. Rules reference: for this list, we're counting the WWE Championship, Universal Championship, and World Heavyweight Championship, even the WCW Heavyweight title. We will not, however, be counting the WWE ECW Championship because lol, look at it. Also, these are just 10 names in a random order. They're not ranked because everyone on this list is the best. Number 10, Owen Hart, a man with a legacy that stretches across both major wrestling companies in the world. What the Rocket Owen Hart could have been is one of the biggest what-ifs in wrestling history. After all, the rumors persist that before his tragic accidental death at Over the Edge 99, he was earmarked for the game gimmick. Beloved in the locker room and one of the most respected workers in company history, Owen came fingertips away from the WWE Championship on multiple occasions, but chiefly at SummerSlam 1994. In fact, he very briefly, air quotes, won it during an untelevised lumberjack match before the decision was reversed in a dusty finish. A wonderfully grating heel, one half of one of the best WWE feuds of all time, and a technical whiz. There's no reason Owen couldn't have beaten Brett for the belt at SummerSlam before losing it to Diesel months later. Just to say that even for a short time, he was truly the King of Hearts. Number 9, Mr. Perfect. Talk about the right guy in the right place at the wrong time. Mr. Perfect rose to prominence at the tail end of the 80s, an era still dominated by Hulk Hogan. As such, despite his flamboyant work rate, all-time great vignette, and stellar character, they never pulled the trigger on Perfect as top villain in the company. He almost had it all. An undefeated streak that lasted almost 2 years. He entered a feud with Hogan. He almost won the Royal Rumble 1990 and was booked to do so before the Hulkster was picked at the last moment. He even wrestled Hogan for the WWE title at a televised Madison Square Garden show, winning that match by disqualification. In his feud with Hogan, they even ran a hot angle where he smashed the title with a hammer. Could have been an amazing WrestleMania feud, but Ultimate Warrior standing face to face with Hogan in the 1990 Rumble match made the fans explode, so they went with that for Mania 6 instead. Number 8, Shelton Benjamin. All those mamas can't be wrong. Well, one mama, really. But what a mama. Shelton Benjamin is still wrestling for WWE, and the stop-start booking of the Hurt Business has really dulled the fact that Mr. X Benjamin has a nearly unparalleled legacy of holy shit, I can't believe he did that moments in his decade-spanning career. He's responsible for most of your favorite Money in the Bank ladder match moments, that vertical leap to the corner, the world's greatest tag team, that match with Shawn Michaels, a beautiful IC title run or two. Thinking about it, with his unparalleled athleticism and physical charisma, there's a lot of Mr. Perfect to Shelton Benjamin, with the exception being that Shelton never really cut that defining promo. But hell, that's what managers are for, and it's a crying shame that in the late 2000s they never put, at the very least, the big gold belt on the big gold standard. Just something to make his mama proud. Number 7, Jake Roberts. So far, every wrestler featured on this list has a similar story. Multiple-time Intercontinental Champion, but no world title. Not only has Jake Roberts never been world champion in WWE, he never won any championships in WWE, which is insane because he's one of the greatest characters in company history, with a finisher that in its day became as over as the RKO or the Stunner in theirs. In fact, his finisher was so over that it might have cost him a big world title feud. You see, he hit Hogan with the DDT on an episode of The Snake Pit in 1986, but the crowd reacted so positively for Jake, chanting DDT, that Vince stopped the footage from ever airing and cancelled the feud. A crazy overface when he was good, and an all-time great heel when he was bad. Jake had an icy demeanor, beautifully articulate and compelling promos, and an all-time beloved finisher, all the ingredients needed for a top champion Trust me. Number 6, Razor Ramon. Rest in peace, Scott Hall, one of the progenitors of the biggest boom period in wrestling history. It's a bit odd that Scott Hall, tall, good-looking, good character, never won the big one in the New Generation era in WWF. It's outright insane he never won the big one in WCW, though, especially when you consider all of his NWO stablemates won it multiple times. Nash, Hogan, Macho Man, even the Giant. Even him! But never Scott Hall, having to content himself with 2 US title runs and winning World War III, which is the equivalent of winning a who can hold the most marbles in your mouth competition. Now, to be fair to WCW, Hall's notable substance abuse issues must have made it very difficult for them to put the top title on him. To be unfair to WCW, didn't stop them from using those real-life issues as a basis for a kayfabe alcoholism storyline. And hey, WWE and WCW, stop doing that to your wrestlers. See also Jake Roberts' mid-90s run. Number 5, Umaga. There's a list of wrestlers, and the name of this list was booked incredibly well until they ran face first into a gaudy t-shirted brick wall called John Cena. Bray Wyatt is on that list, as is Rusev, the entirety of the Nexus, and of course, Umaga, a gimmick that, on the outset, looked like just another attempt at WWE to get themselves cancelled as quickly as humanly possible, but thanks to consistent booking and ace presentation and the talents of the late, great Eddie Fatu, Umaga got over strong as a monster heel, till he ran into John Cena and the Dr. Thugonomics put him to sleep, activating a losing streak before the Samoan Savage entered, of course, the IC title picture. Now, to be fair, the matches he had with Cena were really great, especially that last man standing match at the Rumble. But after a long and intimidated undefeated streak, Umaga absolutely deserved a run with the title. Might have helped chill out the Cena wins LOL army as well. Number 4, Luna Vachon. This one's mad. Utterly mad. Almost every single woman who walked into WWE in the mid to late 90s held the women's title at some point, and nearly none of them could hold a candle to Luna Vachon in terms of in-ring ability. The late great daughter of the late great Butcher Vachon, Luna had 2 stints in the WWE, one in the mid-90s and one in the Attitude Era, and neither resulted in championship gold, despite the women's division in the New Generation era consisting of Alundra Blaze and Shrug. And not to disparage the other women of the Attitude Era, but here are some of the people that won the Women's Championship for Wrestling instead of Luna Vachon in that time. The Cat, Fabulous Moolah in her 70s, Sable, Deborah, Stephanie McMahon, Harvey Whippleman. Insanity. Poor Luna Vachon with her awesome face makeup and scary-ass voice. Number 3, Wade Barrett. God, the Nexus really farted itself to death, didn't it? For the 2 people who don't know, the Nexus were a faction consisting of every single member of Season 1 NXT, back when it was a reality-tinged game show. They invaded Raw in June 2010, wrecked shop in one of the most startling invasion angles to not feature Razor Ramon, and dominated storylines for months. Wade Barrett was their leader and absolutely positively should have used this seismic wind of change to become a WWE champion, a general with an army ready and willing to do his bidding. Instead, the Nexus lost at SummerSlam 2010. Wade Barrett repeatedly came up short in his championship matches, and all momentum was frittered away as he slipped down the card to, you guessed it, the Intercontinental title picture. Absolutely crackers that he was never world champion, considering that A, he was that tall, B, he was that talented, and C, it was in the 2010s when everyone not called Damien Sandow had a go on the big gold belt. To be fair, he was going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2011 before they pivoted to Daniel Bryan at the last minute. But considering that led to the Yes movement, which led to Mania 30, can't hugely complain, I suppose. Number 2, Ted DiBiase. Poor Ted. I mean, not poor Ted, rich Ted. But it's a real shame that the $1 Million Man, despite being the second best villain of the Hulkamania era, and we'll get to that, never got to money his way to the championship. He almost held the gold twice, but for one reason or another, it never came to be. On the road to WrestleMania 4, he bought the championship and even got a chance to wear the thing, but WWE have officially stripped that from their record. Then he was supposed to win it in the finals of the WrestleMania 4 tournament, but because, and this is true, Honky Tonk Man refused to drop the IC title belt to Macho Man, they promoted Randy Savage to the WWE title instead. Again, this may have ended up working out because it's led to the Mega Power storyline, but it's still a shame that millionaire Ted had to resort to buying his own belt, the horrendously ugly $1 Million Championship. Don't at me, it is ugly, look at it. It's a real shame because in terms of gimmick, charisma, and work rate, he had everything to be the second best villain of the Hulkamania era, which brings us to number 1, Roddy Piper. He was the best one. He was. It's staggering to me that after building WrestleMania 1 partially off the back of Hogan versus Piper, that the main event of WrestleMania 2 was not Hogan versus heel champion Roddy Piper. It would have Oh, it would have been so good. It would have saved us from the sweaty cockfest that was T and Piper's eventual boxing match at the event. Piper was the villain whose nefarious antics were the cornerstone of the Rock and wrestling connection, but he never actually managed to beat Hulk Hogan clean or otherwise in order to have the hardware to back up his mouth. Even crazier, both men wrestled each other in WCW in the main event of Starrcade 96. Starrcade being WCW's version of WrestleMania, Piper beat Hogan clean with his sleeper hold. Hogan was the WCW heavyweight champion at the time, and Hot Rod still didn't win the belt because it wasn't on the line because of stupid kayfabe reasons. Two different companies, two different versions of WrestleMania built on the golden era rivalry of Hogan and Piper, and at no point during any of it did one of the most charismatic wrestlers in the history of the sport walk away with the top title, not even once. Wrestling is so weird sometimes. Speaking of, Jinder Mahal, WWE champion. And that's our list. Which wrestler do you think most deserved to be world champion who never was? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video around if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to partsFUNknown for more silly wrestling content. And never forget to jam that jam.